The following podcast contains movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, outdated pop cultural references, and occasional f***ing language. Listener discretion is advised. In 3, 2, 1.
And rolling sound, quiet.
Speak.
Good day, good world. You're listening to Subgenre, a podcast about the movies. I'm your host, Josh Dasal. On Subgenre, we focus on films outside the major categories, and in Season 1, that focus is on the steel and saltwater world of submarine movies. In today's episode, it's a mano-a-mano game of open ocean chicken between the baritone, barrel-chested Robert Mitchum and the gruff German-turned-Austrian actor Kurt Jürgens, in a film by actor-director Dick Powell. Take your salt tablets, kids, the sea's getting rough. This is The Enemy Below. And joining me via Zoom today to say intelligent things maybe about film and whatever else is a super fantastic screenwriter, an independent filmmaker, and a self-described clown college reject, although it was a very exclusive school. It's NC Jones. Hello, NC.
Hi, Josh. How's it going?
Oh, man, it's so good. It's so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it, for sure.
As am I. I have a scotch in hand, and yourself?
Yep, I'm drinking tequila and fresca. It is Robert Mitchum's favorite drink. I'm sure it was at some point in time.
Absolutely. I think pretty much anything with alcohol in it may have been Robert Mitchum's favorite drink.
Anything with alcoholic content. Yeah, you're right.
Well, today we're going to be talking about The Enemy Below, which, truth be told, is a film I had not seen until I was prepping for this episode. Had you seen this movie before this time?
I had not seen it before. I think I was aware of it. Robert Mitchum is, when I lean back to like classic Hollywood, he's not my favorite dude, which is a little strange.
Really?
But yeah, he's kind of a bad boy, which should play, but I tend to lean more towards the Jimmy Stewart in that era for some reason.
We'll double date. You take Robert, you take Jimmy Stewart, I'll take Robert Mitchum. Come on.
Okay, I'm not going to fight you for it.
Well, how about submarine films? Were you a submarine film person?
Yes, for sure.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's good because you happen to be on the right show for that kind of discussion. Well then, okay, great. So the Enemy Below with Robert Mitchum and Kurt Jürgens, what do we know about it before we talk plot?
Yeah, so a 1957 CinemaScope film. Loved the CinemaScopes.
Oh, yeah.
The story of a battle of an American destroyer and a German U-boat during World War II, based on the story of the USS Buckley and really a British novel by the author D.A. Rayner. Came out just around Christmas time in 1957.
Because this is the movie you want to watch at Christmas. Take the kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Robert Mitchum without a shirt on, if that's your idea of a Merry Christmas. Yeah. Budget was, I think, 1.9 million, and that would be 17 million today. So that'd be a really low budget feature, I think. But probably at the time, with the warships and the cooperation of the Navy, it was a bigger production than that number would suggest, I believe. And the film won 1958 special effects Oscar and was directed by Dick Powell, who directed The Conquerors and Gold Diggers and hosted the Dick Powell Show, oddly enough. Written by Wendell Mays, who is a fantastic screenwriter. He wrote Von Ryan's Express, The Poseidon Adventure, Anatomy of a Murder, just some phenomenal scripts. Love The Poseidon Adventure. So when you get to the disaster movie genre season, hit me up.
It's coming. It's got to be coming. and when I get to movies aboard trains, Von Ryan's Express is certainly going to be on there as well. Let's not forget to mention though that this was the American film debut of a well-known actor in Germany, not well known in the U.S. until this point, a gentleman by the name of, and I'm going to be pronouncing this so incorrectly, but Kurt Jürgens with the umlauts over the U, who, when he came to America, they played to people like me and just called him Kurt Jürgens.
Yes, yeah, he had to Americanize that. And I guess after World War II is the time to come to American cinema for the Austrian-German professional.
You got a lot to play. The range may not be wide, but you're going to have a lot of roles.
A lot of work. You're just be taking a lot of work, yeah.
Well then, hey, let's talk about this film. Let's talk about The Enemy Below in our feature presentation. So our feature presentation is The Enemy Below with Robert Mitchum and Kurt Jürgens. This is, as we mentioned, a story that takes place in World War II. It's taking place in the open ocean, in this case, in the South Atlantic. It is a duel between an American destroyer escort, not an American destroyer, as I thought when I was watching this, a destroyer escort. There's a difference, kids. And a German U-boat commander as they are engaging in a deadly duel with ships. In CinemaScope.
Don't forget the CinemaScope. I mean, I went through a phase there where I was watching every CinemaScope film that I could find. And there's a lot of like stuff that you wouldn't recognize, but just if you're looking for a cross section of old films to watch, you can do worse. You can do worse.
CinemaScope and the deluxe film process. Let's not forget the deluxe film process. We've got our destroyer escort. It's called the USS Haynes. It's cruising the ocean. We start out with our doctor, just called Doctor, really, in this film, played by an actor named Russell Collins. He's walking the deck and saying hi to all the sailors. There's a storm coming, and we get Robbins, BMSN Robbins, played by an actor named Joe DeRata, who starts this movie by dumping trash off the fantail of the ship, as you do.
Yeah. Well, that was such a weird shot. There was a guy looking out the back of the boat there, and his back's to the camera, and it just like sucked me in, and I was like, who is this mysterious dude? This is Robert Mitchum, right? Like, this is the guy. No, this is not a character you need to care about, but just the framing on him dumping that winding path through the ship, and then the camera lands on that shot, and it's like, who is this mystery guy? It was nobody. It wasn't important.
It's nobody.
What was important was throwing the trash for the sharks.
That's right. That's right. He's worried about the sharks. He's worried about the sharks off the back, which is a little bit of a foreshadowing of what's hanging out there, the enemy below. But really the person I want to pay attention to in this scene is his buddy. And this is BMSN Corky, played by Jeff Daly. Jeff Daly, who did basically nothing but westerns besides this film, but has the most amazing baritone voice you have ever heard in your life.
Yeah, it's so deep. And it's so funny because in the opening credits, you saw a name Biff in the credits. And I was just like, that's got to be Biff. It's not Biff, but his voice is just, he could be Darth Vader. He could be everybody.
Deep-voiced Corky is talking to our buddy Robbins, who's dumping the trash off, about the new captain. We haven't heard the captain's name yet. We haven't seen the captain. We just know that he's taking the place of old Captain Pinky because everybody thinks Pinky's seasick. And Robbins declares as he walks away from his trash dumping duties to everybody else, hey, you got to take this seriously because the guy who walks that bridge has your neck in his hands, and don't you forget it.
Yeah, he's not going to let it slide for a second. And then we transition to some folks playing bridge.
Yeah, playing bridge up in the officer's mess, I guess. And this is, you might have to help me here because there's a lot of people up there playing bridge, and I could ID a few of them, right? So there's Lieutenant Ware, played by David Hedison. There's Lieutenant Mackison, who comes back later, played by Alan Dexter. There's this really super nervous, super green ensign named Ensign Mary, an actor named Doug McClure, who is playing bridge as a partner with someone else at that table. Who the hell was that? Because he comes back.
That was Frank Albertson, but he is
Lieutenant
Sam
Crane.
Yeah, he's Sam Wainwright from It's a Wonderful Life. He's the guy that's like hee-haw to Jimmy Stewart, taking it back to Jimmy Stewart. But he's also in like some Marx Brothers movies. And I recognized him. I also recognize this other dude who I don't exactly remember his name, but he's at the table. He's not in the bridge game. Lieutenant Ware, yeah. He looked like Alan Arkin. And he was in a lot of 60s and 70s TV. He was in Twilight Zone and Batman. And
Gotcha.
Ralph Manza, that's who it was.
Okay.
Vanacek's partner.
Okay. So all of these people are up there in the wardroom. They're all playing bridge. Ensign Mary's doing his best, which is not very good. And they're talking really about this new captain, as everyone is on the ship. We find out in that scene that the new captain, whoever he may be, just got his last ship torpedoed in the North Atlantic and really should not have a new command yet, and yet he does. It's a little confusing. Why didn't Lieutenant Ware get bumped up from the XO position to head this thing? But, there we are. We got a new captain. Right about then, the ship is ordered to darken for the night. They're going to cruise at night, and you got to be quiet, right? Kind of dark. You don't want to get hit by those U-boats. So there's a storm coming. The storm finally hits. There's a blip on the radar. Ware calls the captain from the tower and says, "Hey, Captain, we got a blip on the radar. What should we do?" The mystery captain, whose voice we hear for the first time, that of Mr. Robert Mitchum, says, "I don't know, sailor. What should we do?" And Ware tells him, and he likes the answer.